Oh, look out, look out, look out. Hello and welcome to the IQ session number 63. And tonight we have the wonderful Mr. Dean Popplestone hosting tonight. Tonight is all about a winner's mindset. And Mr. Dean Popplestone is an incredible life coach, mentor, and a great guy to give you a kick up the ass if you ever need one. But we are very privileged to have him here, and he's taking over tonight. So I will not bore you any longer, and I'm going to handball it straight over to you, Mr. Popplestone. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and we look forward to, as we always do, learning lots from you. Thank you, good sir.
Cheers, it's my pleasure. You always do good intros. Love it.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
You make me feel good. You make me want to listen to me.
Good. I did my job.
That's real good. Yep, tonight we want to talk about the winner's mindset, what goes on, how to keep it forever. So not just a winner's mindset to get us through a situation, but how do we keep it forever? So, and that's the tricky part about it. We go through so many different challenges. We get through, we think, wow, we've done really well. And then we go back to where we were. We go back to the start again. And that's, diets are a real good one for that, where we get great results and then we find we're back to where we started. And so I want to talk about the winner's mindset that we can keep on trucking on with, that we can keep forever. Les Brown, one of my favorite speakers, and probably one of my favorite quotes as well. I've got quite a few favorite quotes, to be honest. This is in the pool. Nice and simple. If you want something different, do something different. So if you want something different, do something different, man. And that's the whole point. But we want to do something different forever. And I'm sure if I said that quote for a lot of us doing the challenge, especially FBFMers, and they'd probably tell me, well, I am doing something different. Now, with the risk of insulting quite a few people, you probably are doing something different at surface level. And so what we tend to do is we do something different at surface level. And what I mean by that is we do something different in our actions on the outside. And this is what I'm talking about, like with the diets and that type of setup, that we do something on the surface level, but our thought patterns are still exactly the same. The way that we go about our thinking as we attack these different challenges, our thought patterns stay exactly the same. What will happen is we'll get through the challenges and we'll start to go back to the same place and we'll start to get the same results. We might be a bit confused on it. Hey, sweet. We might be a bit confused on it as to why it is. It's because our thought patterns have not actually changed. Our way that we do our thinking has not actually altered. So if you want something different, do something different, not just on the outside, but actually on the inside too. And that's where the real change and the forever change starts to come into place, is when we actually start reprogramming how we think, when we start reprogramming how our thought patterns work. And I say thought patterns because everything that we do, we have a process for. Absolutely everything that we do, we have a system or a process for, right down to the way that we make our coffee, the way that we brush our teeth, the way that we get dressed every morning. Even the little minute things that we might not think about, that we might go into saying hello to somebody, we'll have a certain process that we'll actually go through. It's our thought patterns that we use. And some of it is just automatic programming because we don't want to think about absolutely everything. There's 3 areas that I want to look at. And the reason I've chosen these 3 areas is because these areas can either dramatically hold us back or dramatically launch us forward as well. And it's all about changing what's going on the inside. The first one I want to tackle is pain and suffering. Now, I guess a lot of what we hear about pain and suffering is they're a partnership. My view on that's a load of bollocks. They're not a partnership. They're not joined together. They don't work together. They don't belong together at all. And I'll tell you the reason why I believe this is because pain is inevitable. Pain is unavoidable. Pain is threaded through a lot of things that we do. Pain is just part of life. Suffering, on the other hand, is an option. Suffering is actually an option that we get to choose whether we take it up or not. So they're not a partnership together at all. All right, pain's like the party crasher, but he's coming to every single party. So you might as well let him in anyway. Suffering is like that unwanted invited guest, the wet blanket that turns up to the party and sucks the life out of it. But we keep inviting him back because we feel obligated. So pain and suffering, let's go pain first. As I said, it's part of life on everything that we do at some sort of level, whether it's a physical pain, we hit our thumb with the hammer, as my youngest found out the other day when she decided to do some building, and kissed the thumb with the hammer. It was fine, but that's part of it, and she learned from that too. Right up to the mental anguish of when we lose a loved one. Pain is going to be there, and it's there for a very good reason. With our pain, we grow, we get stronger. It helps us launch forward and teaches us lessons. And the problem that we tend to make, and I'm speaking for myself here as well, we tend to make pain the enemy. Like, he's the bad guy. Oh, here comes pain again. He's going to wreck everything. When we try and run away from it, that's when we start introducing suffering, because we make it longer. If you know it's coming, just expect it. Expect it as part of the process. So when I go for a run, I know he's already got his sneakers on and he's keen as mustard to come along. And I know when I run, it's going to hurt. But if I only run when it doesn't hurt, I'm not going to get anywhere. So pain is part of that process of me actually getting better as a runner and getting further on in my goals. Great quote. I have no idea who wrote it because there are so many different versions of it, but it goes something like this. So I'm just looking at my notes up in the top corner as well, so I make sure I get it right. And it says, the race always hurts. Expect it to hurt. You don't train so it doesn't hurt. You train so you can tolerate the hurt. Expect it to turn up. Invite it, because when you start hitting that pain barrier, that now's the time to grow. That's why you hear athletes and that saying, mate, once I move on to the other side of that pain barrier, it just opens up a whole new world. I was watching a documentary on ultra marathon runners, and one of the guys said, he goes, it gets to the point where it hurts, but you just don't pay any attention to it anymore because it's just part of the process. So, and you can just keep going. Pain is part of life. Pain is absolutely in everything that we do to some sort of level. When we learn to use it as a benefit and as a growth tool, it actually can help us move forward. It can actually help us really cement that winner's mindset too, that we're not running away from it. Now, with suffering, what suffering is, interpretation of suffering is when we refuse to move out of that pain. So once we start refusing to move out of that pain, we just keep living it over and over and over and over again, you've just welcomed suffering into your life. That's what it is. So whether it's a small incident, say for me, even just recently, work made some changes, and to be quite frank, they suck big time. All right, no doubt about it. They were a kick in the ass, suck big time. It took me a little while to actually get over it and get on with it. Does it make it any better? No, not really. They still suck, but my attitude is a lot different now going to work. Now, stuff like that, what happens when we introduce suffering is I want to tell as many people as possible my pain story. You would not believe what work did to me. You would not believe the situation that I have to live through now. You would not believe. Now, this is not going to benefit anybody I tell, and it is definitely not going to benefit me. All it's going to do is keep me in that position. All it's going to do is keep me in that spot. So when we tell ourselves that, oh, there's no way I could run because it always hurts, all you're doing is you're prolonging that suffering. If you actually go, you know what, I'm running and I know it's going to hurt, but that's part of the process because I know I can get through that hurt. So we train to actually tolerate it. That's why we train. We train so we can tolerate the pain and invite it in as part of our process. And then we can tell the suffering, mate, he's not welcome. Tell him to piss off because he's not welcome at this party anymore. Use pain as leverage, use pain as your tool, use pain to know when you are growing. Get rid of suffering. Waste of freaking time. All right. If you find yourself lingering, get around some good people who will give you a kick up the ass and tell you you need to start moving on. All right. How long the pain hurts? Who knows? That's a piece of string. Sometimes it's a quick one. Sometimes it's a long one. And it doesn't mean, look, when we go through the mental anguish of losing a loved one, it doesn't mean that you forget them. But it turns from absolute pain to happy memories. It turns from pain to, the good thoughts about who we've lost as well. But it doesn't hold us back anymore. Yeah, we might still shed a tear when we think about them, and that's fine. In fact, we'll talk about emotions in section 3, so we'll get to that in a minute. Pain and suffering, they are not the same thing. Keep the pain, piss the suffering off. All right, that's what will help you get forward. Number 2, where is our source of happiness? All right, where do we source it from? Now, I'm going to take a guess. I've got no statistics to back this up whatsoever, but I'm going to take a hunch, and I reckon most people will agree with me. The majority of the world's population source their happiness from an outside source. They source it from either their families, their friends, their jobs, their material goods, their community status, their intelligence, their achievements. A lot of our source of happiness comes from the outside to try and build what's going on within. This is a ridiculously flawed process. It's a terrible process to have. And I can guarantee that all of us have tried it, and we still continue to try it. It's flawed because we are basing our joy and our happiness and what makes us fulfilled and looking for our purpose in absolutely things that we have no control over. It is absolutely things that we have no control over. These are out of our control. There is one thing in this world, one thing only, that we have total control over. And when you look in the mirror, that's it. So the only thing that I have total control over in this world is me. So when I put my source of happiness, my source of joy, my fuel for life is something that I have no control over, it's going to be flawed. It's going to bring you anguish. It's going to bring you stress because it does not work. Now, look, as a dad, and I reckon there's plenty of dads out there, I have used this statement before: my kids will do what they're told. Let me tell you a little secret. Fat chance. They quite often don't do what they're told. They annoy the crap out of me because they don't do what they're told. But you know what? That's because they're not me. That's because that's an outside source. Wives, how much joy and pleasure does it bring you when your husbands do those annoying little things that you've been trying to change them for years and years and years, and they still do those annoying little things? Personally, as a husband, I don't get it. I don't find them that annoying. But it's an outside source, and it pisses us off because it doesn't work. You know, when if only work could be a little bit better. It'll be a good day if I can get through the traffic. It's going to be a great day as long as the weather holds out. Now, these are all outside sources that we put so much weight into. If we look from the outside in, it is not going to work. It's a flawed way of thinking. And this is where I want to start changing our thought patterns. We need to start looking inside out. So instead of the outside world influencing us, we want to actually start influencing the outside world. So when we start with our source of happiness from within, and it goes out, it's a massive difference. It's a massive difference for you because your source of happiness is now not reliant on somebody else. It's not reliant on something else. It's actually already there. You know it. We talked about last time I jumped on the IQ session, and it's all about knowing your why. The reason you get your ass out of bed, the reason your feet hit the floor every morning, the whole purpose that you actually get up and you live your life is your why. And it can be a simple thing, it can be a complex thing. It's what gets you up in the morning. So it's not one of the easiest things to find out. It took me a long time to actually work out what they meant by the why. And once I worked it out, it's actually what gets me out of bed, not what drags my ass out of bed because out of obligation, but what actually makes me want to get out of bed every morning. That's our why. I encourage everybody to actually go on the hunt for this. There's probably programs and quizzes that you can do to try and work it out. Talk to people, talk to the people around you, talk to your friends, families. They know you well. So they can give you ideas of what your actually why is, what actually smokes your tires, what revs your engine, what puts the winds in your sails, whatever it is. Find out what your why is so your happiness can start within and work its way out. And the benefit from that is now you're an influencer. Now you're actually starting to influence the people around you. And when that happens, all of a sudden you can see changes in other people as well. Inside out, not outside in. We can't base our happiness on something we'll have no control over. It'll just bring you hurt and anguish and frustration. Once we're secure within, spread it out to the world. We are unique beings, and that's the way we're meant to operate. Every single one of us is totally unique and totally different. Right, and actually, I'm going to tell this quick story because I want to demonstrate that we can't just partner up with somebody else for our why. We can't just rely on other people for our why because our perspectives of the world are totally, totally different. I have told this story before. I'm going to tell it again because I love this story anyway, and it is a funny ass story. Young fella, Noah, when he was only a little boy, and he was, and I know it's hard to imagine, but he was a little boy one day, and he was just learning to ride his bike, and he said, "Dad, I really want to go out for a ride." So I said, "No worries, we'll go for a bit of a jog and a ride, and I'll take you down the main street of Cranbourne and stuff like that." Chuck Hannah in the pram, and I just sort of potted along as he moseyed along on his little bike, and we get to the top of the main street Cranbourne, and it's a bit of a downhill run on the way down. So as we we're getting up there, I said to the boy, I said, "Mate, remember your brakes are on your pedals, so put your feet back and you'll be right. Keep your feet on your pedals. So if you feel too fast, just put your brakes on." "Yeah, Dad, I'm good. And so we get around, we start making our way down the hill, and he is full of confidence, so I thought, and he starts picking up this bit of speed and a bit more speed, and I'm thinking, oh man, he's starting to actually really hook into it. And then he was really hooking into it, and he was starting to get to the old warp speed. And then I hear the cry, "Dad!" And he is hooking it hard out. And his feet then come off the pedal, and now I'm running. Hannah's sitting bolt upright with white knuckles on the front of the pram. And I don't think that pram's traveled so fast. I don't think I'd travel that fast because I wasn't really running at that stage. So there was all sorts of wobbly bits floating around, trying to actually keep up with the boy. And I thought if I could just get to him, I can grab the back of his shirt and we'll be right. As we're hooking it down the main street, a little old lady steps out the front of the shop, and the boy only just missed her. And so I went flying past, just yelling out to the boy. He's screaming. I'm yelling out, "Put your feet on the damn pedals, boy. Put your feet on the pedals." And just as I get to him, my hand is right over the back of his shirt. He gets the speed wobbles on. Bang, he's in the concrete. And he's hating it. He's like, "Oh, I'm not getting on that bike ever again. No way, no way." And I'm thinking, mate, I ain't carrying the bike, so you're getting back on. And as we're having this conversation, I hear a little voice in the pram saying, "Oh, can we do that again?" So that's my view of the story. Second view, young fella on his bike. "Oh, Dad reckons I can do this hill." And we get to the top of the hill, and he's thinking, "Oh, crap, this is a freaking huge hill." All right, no, I'm good. Dad tells me I can do it, so I'm going to go anyway. All right, I've got it. I've got it. No, I haven't got it. No, I haven't got it. No, I haven't got it. Dad, I am in trouble. I am going to die. I'm in trouble. Dad, bang. You just think, man, this is the worst ever. I hate bicycles. So that's the second view. So that's one event, two different perspectives of how the world looks. There is a third. There's a little pint size sitting in this pram. Now we get over this hill, and what I thought was fear, as we start taking off, she's got the white knuckles and she's sitting upright going, oh, big bro wants a race. We're on. And she's up and she's ready. And then I start running and she's just thinking, man, this is freaking awesome. Come on, big bro, I'm going to hunt you down. And she's, yeah. And then as we get to the end, she's going, woo, this is awesome. This is what it's all about. Not sure why he's crying, but who cares? Let's do that again. That's three totally different views. Now, there is a fourth view. This one I'll make up a little bit, but little old lady buying whatever she was buying in a shop. Don't know what shop it was. And she steps out of this shop. And next thing, this young hooligan on a bike almost takes her out. What the hell? The pram is full of little hooligans on bike. And no wonder he's turned out the way he is, because his old man's running with a little baby in a pram just screaming. He's got no hope. That's four different views of one event. Now, are they all right? Yeah, they are, because that's their world perspective. That's how they see the world. So when we have our own expectations and we're trying to fill our happiness, our joy, and we're putting it in somebody else who has totally different perspectives to us, they're not going to satisfy what goes on within. So when we're trying to grab that out and put it in to be satisfied, it's not going to work. Even if it's your best bud, even if it's your BFF forever, whatever, it's not going to work, because there's a slight difference and it's not going to fit. The reason for that is because we are designed to be unique. We are designed to have a specific place in this world to make a difference. That is what we're here for. So it is so important to find your source of happiness through your why, through your inner being, whatever you want to call it, from inside out, so we can start influencing those around us, and you'll make a difference. You'll make a huge difference. Number 3, our emotions. This one is probably one of my toughest ones to deal with. Definitely brought up in an era where blokes, you don't show emotions, because we save that for the softies and the women. That's the era that I was brought up in. This is where I've had to make a lot of changes. The good news is, as I'm getting older, I am turning into more of a sook. So it's slowly getting there. They're chipping away. But with our emotions, they're there for a really, really, really good reason. They are our stress and tension releases. So when we're sad, we need to play them out. We need to actually give our emotions time to fully be served and fully play out. Don't be ashamed by them. If you're mad, play them out. If you're sad, play them out. I say tension and stress relievers, not just for the bad stuff, because you know what? We can actually have good tension. We can actually have good tension. And the reason I say that is because the physical properties of excitement and anxiety, exactly the same. It's how we choose to actually play that out. So when we feel massive joy, feel massive joy. Give your emotions time to play out. We all I guess exercise these very, very different. And we have some more dominant ones than others. The next step to this is, it's important to know why we feel the emotions that we do. It's important to know why we express emotions that we actually do as well, in the way that we actually express them. Just like any history, our emotions have a history as well. They have a trail that you can follow backwards. So for me, okay, quick family history for me. Okay, for my mum, she never knew her dad. Nobody ever told her. Her nan took her to the grave, refused to tell her who her dad was. Her mum actually died when she was 14. And she was not allowed to go to the funeral because she was told funeral is no place for kids. And she was actually the one that was told by her nan to go out and tell all the other relatives that her mum had died. Now, when she did the door knock on all her relatives' doors, not one of them actually asked how she was. Now, she was a 14-year-old girl who had just lost her mum. And what that happened is it passed on to us kids a real whatever makes you happy, as long as it makes you happy, it's the most important thing. And which sounds really, really good. It's not that great. But you know what? She did the best she could with what she got handed. And I'm sure I'm going to hand some stuff down to my kids that they'll probably have to change. That's fine. My dad, on the other hand, so his dad was in World War II, away for many years in his younger life, spent 2 years in a POW camp, escaped, got captured, got tortured, escaped, got captured, had to deal with hand-to-hand combat where he's face-to-face with somebody that is actually driving a knife, a bayonet through his chest and watching him die. And at that era, they don't get any help back then. Coming back from World War II, they don't. So he gets to live with that and pass that on to his son, which is his dad. Now, we only learned this story not long before he died. And he still said, man, I can still see the guy's face to this day. And that's like 60 years on, whatever it was. He got to pass that on to his dad. His son, which is my dad. So my dad had a real disconnection with his dad for a long, long time. Not only that, he also my dad contracted TB as a young fella. And back in those days, they put like a cage thing around their head and you go to school regardless. So you can imagine the torture and torment that he had at school. So his self-esteem was absolutely ripped to shreds. It was shot, never repaired it. And I had the joy of having a low self-esteem passed on to me. And out of that, I became an extreme people pleaser. Couldn't really commit to a lot of things and always wondered why I fell into that same pattern over and over again. And reason why I don't show emotions, look at the family history that goes back. Things get shut down along the way. So it's been a lot of rebuilding. And the reason I tell you this is not to feel sorry or anything like that. That's not the reason from it, because the good news is 2 screwed up units, my folks get together, and you know what? They actually did an all right job. They still did a good job. So even if our history is not great, they still did a good job because they did the best they could with what they knew. Maya Saunders comes out with an awesome quote when she says, do the best you can with what you know until you know better, then do better. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is when we learn what our history is, when we learn the reasons why we are, and it's not just that's the way you are. No, that's bollocks, because you know what? When we learn about the history, we now have the ability to change it. We now actually have the strength and the ability to do something about it. When you know it, you can change it. That's where the strength is. It's not about all the experiences and stuff like that. You know what? My folks had horrific experiences, but they were still great people, and they still did a good job with what they knew. But when we know better, we can do better. When we know it, we can change it. And that's the point of knowing where your emotional history lies. It's not just because this is the way that I am, I'm just an emotional person, or it's just the way I am, I just don't show emotions. There's a reason why we are the way we are. Our emotions are there for very, very good reasons, to relieve our stress and tension. If we don't let them play out, the stress and tension will stay on. 3 areas that can make all the difference, good and bad. They can hold us back or set us free, so we can keep going with that winner's mindset. It's all about reprogramming our thought patterns, reprogramming the way that we think. You know, we look at the pain and suffering. What's our relationship with pain? Is it the enemy or is it just part of the process? Invite it in, part of the process, piss suffering off. Inside out, that's how we source our happiness. Start from the inside, send it out into the world, bless the world with what you have, because that is the position that you've been giving in this world. That's your unique position. It's made for you. There's a place especially for you in this world, inside out, spread it out. Know it, change it. With our emotions, let them play out fully, but know the history so you can change your future with it as well. If you're hoping for a one-step fix-all, easy fix solution to a winner's mindset, sorry, ain't getting it. It doesn't work that way. It is, I wrote it down, it's a constant pursuit of the one more. That's what it is. It's a constant pursuit. It's not, I've done it, we should be right. If you aren't, you're getting sucked in. Someone's told you a whole lot of BS, because that's not right. It's a constant pursuit of one more. It's a constant pursuit of, you know what, we're going to do a little bit better than what we did yesterday, and we're looking forward to what's coming tomorrow. That's a summary of a winner's mindset. One more on a daily basis. One more. 3 areas that we can really make a difference. 3 areas that we can alter our thought patterns, our thinking, so we get different results consistently, better results, doing our one more. Want to finish on this one. Listen to a Simon Sinek video this morning and came out with an absolute cracker. Live our life with purpose, on purpose. Live our life with purpose, on purpose. Winner's mindset forever. Starts in here, goes down here, spread it out to the world. Love it.
Love it. You are the
Dino.
man, Dean Popplestone.
Very
And
good.
cheers.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Does anybody have any questions for the man himself?
I've got one for you, Dino.
Oh,
Yeah.
Being as Noah is a lot bigger now, do you think you could still catch him on the bike if he was going down that same hill?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. Just wanted to.
I've got it. I've got him. Don't know if I can lift him off by the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be fooling myself a little bit.
I think you guys should try and reenact it. Put
Right. Okay. I'll see if I can get Hannah in the pram.
Easy.
Yeah.
15-year-old, I know I can, whether she will or not. Might be a challenge.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's awesome. Does anyone else have any questions? Please feel free to wave at me and I can unmute you, or type it in the chat for the good sir. But whilst I wait to see if anybody has any questions, please, I know that I speak on behalf of everyone when we say thank you so much, Dino, for your time and for your knowledge and wisdom. And you always deliver a brilliant message in such a great and easy to understand and listen to manner. So thank you so much for always sharing with us and giving us your time.
It's always my pleasure, Shares. I love it.
Good. And no speak of freckles tonight. I was a little bit disappointed.
Freckless tonight.
Did anyone have any final questions before we sign off? No. Just a huge thank you. Anything from you?
I just thank you guys for giving up your time on a Thursday evening or whenever it is that you're watching it, because it does a lot for yourself. I'm sure you're aware of it, which is why you guys tune in each week. But we just thank you guys for investing in yourself, because it goes a long way. And having someone like Dean share something maybe you may have heard 1,000 times over, and he just delivers it in a different way, and it might be the thing you're looking for at this point in time in your life. So thank you again, Dino. Thank you guys for giving up your time to, like I said, invest in yourselves. Other than that,
Melinda said, live our life with purpose on purpose. That's awesome,
Yeah,
Dean.
great.
Need
Yeah,
that
that's a good
framed
one.
on a wall.
Mm.
And Taylor's also said, thank you, Dean. So
No,
thank you from all of us. We look forward to the next average man session. He's not average at all, but we love you, good sir. And thank you guys all so much for joining us tonight.
Shez,
Thanks, legends.
just one more thing, Shez.
Yep.
If there's questions afterwards, people think of questions afterwards, just message me. Just send us a message. That's fine. Even for our recorded friends who come on afterwards, I'm happy to answer them.
Do you
That's all good.
prefer text message or Facebook message?
Either or, it doesn't matter.
Cool.
I'm savvy across both.
Would we go that far?
And well, that's my limit. I did have to get Lily to show me how to change the Wi-Fi tonight.
Thank God for Gen X kids.
Yeah, love them.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Okay, cool. Awesome. You guys have a sensational Thursday night. Thank you all so much. We love you, Dino. We'll
Cheers,
see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye.